Hello everyone and welcome to day 5 of my holiday card making series. So today I'm using the Penny Black Christmas note image and inking it up with Memento Tuxedo black ink and then stamping it onto CC Designs Copic quality 110-pound cardstock. And rather than use Copics or Prismacolor pencils, I pulled out something I haven't used in years, and this is my Stampin Up Watercolor Wonder Crayons. There's other brands out there. I think it's Lyra, and there's just other brands out there. They don't have to be Stampin' Up. Anyway, I got mine years ago when they first came out with them. And then I'm just using a watercolor brush that you can put the water right in it, but you don't need one of those either. You can just use a regular watercolor brush and a dish of water. And I'm using a really light hand because obviously this cardstock is not meant for watercoloring, like at all. It will pill if you get it too wet. So I'm just picking up, this is the blush color from Stampin' Up, like a skin color, and very lightly, like applying it to cardstock, not getting it too wet. I've got a piece of paper towel right beside my image to wipe off the brush in case it gets too damp, because like I said, like it will pill the cardstock, but I really wanted a really stark white background for this card, so that's why I decided to use it, and I was just too lazy to pull out my watercolor paper. So anyway, again, just trying not to oversaturate anything, not blending a whole lot. It's kind of the nice thing about watercolor crayons is it's kind of effortless. Like I just pick up the color directly from the crayon and then put it on the cardstock. Not a whole lot of effort. I'm not doing any blending. It just, like the depth of the color itself just kind of gives it a more finished look, I guess. Also, it's a lot more softer than Copics or even Prismacolor pencils, and that's just the way watercolors are. So for her hair, I'm just using 2 different shades of brown. I started with the lighter and then I went and added in a bit with the darker. And then just between colors, I'm just scribbling the color off onto the paper towel, and that cleans the brush right off. So then for her little jacket, I'm just going in with the green. If you're using actual watercolor paper, you can color right onto the paper with the watercolor crayon and then use your brush to move the color around. But I just prefer picking up the color directly from the crayon and then putting it onto the cardstock. It's just easier that way in my opinion. So for her little earmuffs, I'm using Bravo Burgundy. And I'm always just applying the color where the darkest would be. I usually have my light source kind of pictured in my head coming from the upper right. So since I can't do a lot of blending with this, I just apply the color where the darkest area would be, which would be the lower left of everything, and then just pull it up towards the right. So then I'm doing red on the berries, and I decided to add a little bit more red to all the burgundy areas because it just was too dark for my taste. So again, very lightly just going on, not blending it or anything, just applying it over top. And then for her little boots and headband and the lamp, I'm just using saffron. And then for the lamp itself, I purposely kind of went outside the lines a little bit just to kind of give the illusion of it glowing. And then just a moss color to color the lamp itself, and then added a teeny little bit of that to her little sheet of music just so it wasn't stark white. And then for the little pole of the lamp, just again the same, just dark brown, and the very, very tip of the brush since it's such a tiny area to color. And just picking up the color, applying it until it runs out, and then picking it up again from the crayon. Really easy. So then finally, the areas of the snow, I'm just using the palest blue crayon and just kind of just dabbing it into place. Again, no blending, no real effort whatsoever. It's super quick when using these, and plus an image like this that's, you know, not really heavily detailed. So yeah, once that's all done and it's dry, which it dries pretty quickly, like I said, because I didn't oversaturate it, I just trimmed it down with my paper trimmer, just eyeballing it, no measurements in mind. For the card itself, I just held it up and then used my fingernail to mark where I wanted to trim off the excess cardstock, and that's all there was to it. So I took my little EK Success corner rounder punch and rounded the bottom corners of the main image. And then for the card itself, I'm using the Fancy Pants St. Nick pattern papers. So I trimmed a couple of different papers for the front. And then I wasn't sure what I was going to do about the middle part, like where they meet up, because I didn't want to leave it just like that because it just looks unfinished. I was going to use this kind of saffron colored piece, but then changed my mind on how I wanted to do that and use the saffron piece for a sentiment instead. And this sentiment is actually from one of my older sets. This is from my Merry and Bright set. And I inked up the Wishing You with the Tuxedo black ink, and then I just punched it out with my Stampin' Up key tag punch. So then once I've got that, I still need something to go between those two pattern papers, so I just cut a strip of one of the red pattern papers so that I've got that kind of the way I want it to be. Just fiddling around with my layout. And then for the main image I wanted to add, I was going to add ribbon, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and then finally I decided on the Twinery Maraschino Cherry twine, so I wrapped that around a couple times. Not so OCD this time, I didn't do 3, I only did twice, and tied that in a bow, and then adhered all the papers to the card front. The main image, I'm just using a couple of large dimensionals from Jody Morrow. As always, links will be in the description box, and I just cut them in half because I didn't need, you just get more for, you know, your dollar that way. So then I've got that adhered, and then the sentiment, adhered that with my ATG gun and just kind of slipped it under the main image. And then to finish it off, I'm going to add some pale blue brads, and I'm just using my Stampin' Up matte pack so that the holes are evenly spaced. And as always, my We Are Memory Keepers brad piercing and setting tool. And I think these brads are from Doodlebug. They're just obviously, they're just in my jars, so nothing's ever labeled with that stuff, but I'm pretty sure they're Doodlebug brads. So once I've got those into place and flattened, it's just a matter of adhering the card front to the card base itself. So as always, my ATG gun, and then I chose a pale blue cardstock for my card base. And then for the inside of the card, I used this leftover piece that I had cut for the front of the card, and then that same yellow strip that I was going to use on the front, I decided to use it on the inside. And I inked up the companion sentiment from the Merry and Bright set to finish it off. So the outside it says Wishing You, and then you open up the card, A Very Merry Christmas. So once I got that done, I'm going to adhere these pieces to the inside of the card. And just always eyeballing everything to get it all lined up. And then I don't want to leave that as is again. It's just kind of that starkness between the two pattern papers. So I just took a scrap strip, adhered that between them, and that's all there was to it. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!